All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tea with Doug G. If you don't know me, my name is Doug Gooden, and y'all, I am so excited tonight to welcome my wonderful guest, Miss Elise Harvin. Elise, welcome to the show. Yeah, why don't you take just a second, tell the folks who you are, what you do, all that jazz, and yeah, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Doug. I'm Elise. I am a fourth year elementary education major with a minor in theater at UGA. I am the artistic director of the children's theater troupe, and I'm involved in UGA Wesley, Greek Life, and Classic City Church.
All right, sweet, sweet. Well, good deal. Well, Elise, I think we should just go on and get right into it, okay? So, first question, as per usual, Mr. Ben Tankersley, a friend of the show, he sent in our first question of the week, and Ben wants to know what is the most difficult word that you know how to spell? And supercalifragilisticexpialidocious cannot be the word.
That would be a good one. Um, man, I hmm. Those words that as a child you learn but they just don't make sense, and I can't pinpoint a specific one right now, but with all of the extra like f's or g's or h's or all that stuff, and you're like, what, this doesn't even make sense, like
Yeah,
those type of words I would.
yeah. Sweet. Well, good deal. I think if I had to pick one, I think that pterodactyl is a good word. Um, is a
Yes.
is a good word, because it actually starts with a P, you know. And I'm actually not going to try and spell it the rest of the way. But yeah. All right. Well, great first question, Ben. And I've actually got a follow up question also from Ben, but unrelated to that first question. So Ben wants to know, what is your favorite musical that you know and love, but no one else has heard of?
Well, my favorite musical that some people may not have heard of, some people really love it. If you've heard of it, you love it pretty much. But Dogfight, it is so good. The music is fire, and those harmonies are just like, they kind of bring me to tears a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, it's so good. It's one of my favorites to listen to on Spotify. Just like the entire score, I mean the entire soundtrack, and it's like, yes.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Yeah, I think if I had to currently the musical that I'm obsessed with, but like not many people know about it, is probably Evil Dead the musical. Because it's just a wacky, funny, gory kind of time. It's great. Big fan of it. But yeah, real quick, I do want to just take a minute to acknowledge that for those of you who are trying to watch this on perhaps my Facebook page, I don't know why, but it's not sharing to my Facebook page. However, I did just share it off of Vider's page, so you should be good to see it now. But anyway, yeah. All right. Well, Ben, you started us off with two great questions, so I'm going to throw it back to Elise. Elise, why don't you hit me with a question?
All right, I got you. Okay, so Doug, what are some of your favorite places to eat in Athens?
Ooh, all right, yeah, all right. So I got a couple. All right,
I know you.
so yeah, all right. So first things first. My favorite new place to eat in Athens, Genya Ramen Bar. It's phenomenal. It is not your college dorm room ramen. You know, will you pay $20 every single time that you go out to eat there? Yes, but is it worth it? Also, yes. It's delicious. That spicy chicken ramen just hits the spot every single time. Um, so that's my favorite new place in Athens. Favorite like established place. Um, I'm really a sucker for I'm a sucker for Little Italy pizza.
Mm,
It's that good like $2.50 slice that just hits different. It really does. Um, yeah, I know that you didn't ask for like my breakdown of my individual favorite places in Athens for specific times in life.
Go for it. Just go for it.
Best chicken wings in Athens are at JR Crickets on, I believe, Alps Road. Those are the best wings in town. But yeah, yeah. Uh, Elise, do you have any place in particular that really just stands out to you as like best place to eat in Athens?
Yes, but first I'm going to call myself out and say, Doug, you're going to hate me, but I've never been to Little Italy and I don't even know how. But
Ooh,
I need to do it before I graduate.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that and the grill are like, you know, you have to go to them at least once.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
just to like check it off.
yeah.
But I would say that my favorite restaurant in Athens is Taqueria Tsunami. They have one
Mhm.
in Marietta, which is where I'm from, and it's so good. And I was just so excited to know that they had one in Athens too, and it's just as good. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great question, Elise. All right. So kind of jumping back into some other questions that we've gotten. So Elise, so we both are members of several student groups on campus. You know, for you, you do CTT. You also do Greek life. Um, and then I do BCM and CTT, all that jazz. And one thing that really has stuck out to me just across UGA is like a desire of is the desire of all these student groups to like partake in philanthropy opportunities. So what do
Mhm.
you think it is about like student groups, or what do you think leads student groups to like want to do so much work in philanthropy while they're in college? What do you think is that like driving force?
Well, I think that like it's kind of a culture at UGA just to begin with. You know, like everyone coming in kind of has that like drive and desire to give back to the community. And like, I mean, it kind of has to be genuine. And UGA, if I mean, they'll want to see that like on your application to UGA. So I feel like coming in, people have that. And so, like, as a result, they want to be a part of organizations that promote that too, that like want to give back to the community and everything. And I think it's just like, it just makes you feel so good. And so I think there are a lot of there are a lot of opportunities in Athens as well, and I think that that's really good, and that just makes it that much more easy for students to get a part to be a part of organizations, and also there's so many different philanthropic opportunities. You could just go in so many directions. It's kind of like a little spider web, and so I think that that gets a lot of people passionate because you can really find your niche within the like realm of service.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's very well said. And also kind of piggybacking off of that, you know, you spoke about you know, UGA kind of fosters that culture in and of itself through like the kinds of community involvement that they look for in students on their applications and things like that. Well, at least you know we're both fourth year students. We both have been through the ringer and the emotional trauma that is college. Um, so I mean, so my question is, you know, we're kind of in a completely different culture, different space than we were when we started college. So if you have one piece of advice that you would give to incoming freshmen or current freshmen who are looking at college, who are looking at the campus of UGA and are seeing something that's completely different from when you walked on campus, what would that one piece of advice be? What would be your like, as a friend of mine would say, what's your like little nugget of wisdom that you would pass on to them?
Um, I would say, you know, make the most of your time because it slips away so fast. And like, I don't know, I sound like a sappy senior saying that, but like, really, just like, you know, whether that's like on a Friday and you feel kind of tired, but like your friends are doing something fun, like do it, you know, because like it's that moment, it's those moments where like we either push ourselves to do something social or like, you know, push ourselves to like, oh, I'm going to get involved with this. I'm kind of scared, but like I'm going to do it anyways. Like those moments kind of make all of the difference just to kind of get over that mental hump of like, it's kind of scary, but like I'm going to do it. And I think that's like made me like who I am in college.
Yeah, yeah, and I think you bring up a good point. You talked about it earlier. You know, when you walk on to campus, like I mean, there are so many opportunities. You just have to look for them. You just have to be like willing to let them happen. And also, I mean, you know, to the freshmen who aren't necessarily who are not experiencing like the collegiate experience that they thought they would. You know, there still are a ton of things that are happening at UGA that you can still get involved in. And I mean, obviously it's not just UGA, but we're both UGA students, so obviously that's like the only thing I can draw from. But I mean, like, there is a place where you can find your niche and where you can find like your place where you fit, and you will know that once you try it out. But yeah. All right. Well, Elise, I'm gonna throw it back to you. Why don't you hit me with another question?
Of course.
And yeah.
Okay. Um, Doug, what would your ideal day look like?
Um, Oh man, I was gonna do the whole stupid Legally Blonde thing, and then I just blanked on the date. Um, uh, is it October 3rd or August? I don't know what it is, but anyway. Um,
Are you talking about the Mean Girls thing?
no. I was thinking about Mean Girls with October 3rd, but Legally Blonde, she gets asked the question, "What's your idea? What's your idea of the perfect date?"
Oh,
And
yeah,
she
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "It's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, perfect day. I'm a fall guy. I'm a big fan of the autumn, as it were. I was actually driving around Athens, Clark County today, and you know, just the. Did I say Legally Blonde? I meant Miss. Okay, real quick. Okay, because Ben Tankersley called me out saying it was not Legally Blonde. It's not. It's Miss Congeniality. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Um, wow, Ben called me out on a movie. That's not something that usually happens.
Just like
Um, he was on it too. I tell you what, you know,
hits you in the gut, man.
it really does. It really does. But getting back to your question, you know, I'm a big fan of the fall, big fan of autumn. You know, all the changing colors, all that jazz. And I love sweater weather so much to the core of my soul. I love it when I get to put on a sweater and just it just hits different. It's so nice. It's so very nice.
Same.
Um, your idea of a perfect day, Ms. Harvin?
Um, it would have to be in the fall as well. I mean, it's so pretty right now. I don't know if you've like been outside, taken a walk outside, but it's like it is peak fall weather right now, and it would definitely have to be in the fall.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, kind of hopping back on over here. Okay, so Elise, you know, you are an early childhood education major, which means you are a part of the group of the population who I have the utmost respect for. You know, anyone who has the guts to be a teacher, like my hat goes off to you, because dear Lord, I do not have it in me. Um, but my mom, you know, she had the opportunity to pick a young up and coming teacher's mind, and she wanted to know. So we all know that engaging activities are some of the most important in school, and they really do help students remember and receive content in a much more like relevant manner.
Yeah.
So I mean, is there a specific project or activity that you did? Or that you partook in when you were growing up through elementary school, through grade school, that really stuck with you and really made the information that they were trying to get across to you stick? And why did it do that?
There was this one project that we did in my gifted class in fourth grade, I think, and it we got into partners, and or I think we could do it solo too, but I was partners with like my best friend, and we did in like an entrepreneur project had to do all of the budgeting, like all of the economics, and get all the supplies and make all of the stuff. We chose to make stick puppets. They were quality, if I do say so myself. And then we had what we called a mile market, and mile was like the name of our gifted program. And so the rest of the school could come into the cafeteria and buy our little all of everyone's products, but like for us, our little stick puppets with fake money, not real money. But and afterward, we assessed like supply and demand. If I made too many and then didn't sell enough, did I advertise enough? It was just a whole spectrum of things, and it was so cool. And I remember, and it's pretty cool that I remember everything that we talked about and everything that we learned, and that was so long ago. But I think that was the most impactful and most like interesting project I did in elementary school.
Yeah, that actually does sound really cool. And I would imagine that would really stick with you. So it's kind of weird because in thinking about this question, it drew up like one very clear example for me. Because I had this one class in middle school. In middle school, where we walked in one day, and the teacher said, "All right, I'm going to give you this project. You need to do a poster and a presentation, and I'm going to pair you up." Which I understand why teachers pair students up, but I hate it. Like, just let us pick our partners. That's just let us pick our partners. But anywho, but he paired us up, and he said, "All right, so you have to do all of this stuff. Go on, get started. I'm not going to tell you how long you have to do it." And at the end of that first day of work, he said, "All right, you need to have it turned into me, not tomorrow, but the day after that. You need to have everything ready in less than 2 days." And when I tell you that young 13-year-old Doug Gooden lost his ever-loving mind.
Oh my gosh.
And what got worse was that I did like I worked on it very diligently is the word that I was trying to say. I worked very diligently, tried to get the whole thing done. Like that night, we were good. We were rocking and rolling. And then I got to school that day, and I spilled sweet tea all down the front of this poster, and it was destroyed. And my soul was crushed. It was awful. It was awful. And then we went into that class, and we sat down, and the teacher like stood up there, and he was like, "All right, anybody done?" And like one or two people like raised their hands, and he said, "Let me see your work." And he said, "That's not great work, is it?" And he said something to the effect of like, "Yeah, I knew that none of you were going to be able to get this done in the way that you wanted to get it done in this time." Okay, Heidi. Yes, Mom did come to the rescue because Doug was crushed. However, there was a message behind this lesson. But anyway, he said, he was like, in life, you're going to have moments where you have an impossible deadline and you're going to fail, and that's okay because it's how you recover from that. And I was like, man, great lesson. Did we need to crush my soul? Probably not, but I got the lesson. I got the lesson.
I have never heard someone say something like that ever before.
Yeah, it was very intense, emotional for a 13-year-old to take that in. But I was like, man, never gonna forget this one.
Oh my god.
But
that is tough love at its finest. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, like he gave us like 2 weeks to get the thing done, and it looked great. But like, yeah, in that moment, Doug Gooden went insane. But yeah. All right. Well, Elise, I'm gonna hit you with another question.
All right.
So, okay. So, oh, Good Lord, my mom is going off on things. All right, so Elise, we talked earlier about how this pandemic has changed the way that people look at about how students look at coming into college, at um, how we perceive the collegiate experience. So I want to know, how or what has been the most difficult part of this pandemic for you professionally, personally, and or academically?
Yeah, I could speak to all of those. So I guess we'll start with academically. I love being in in-person classes, and I didn't really realize that, and I totally took it for granted. And then we were online, and there's just so many more. I don't know if you experience this too, probably everyone does, but there are just so many more distractions when you're on Zoom. Like, I find myself just like, looking
Yes.
around in my room, and I'm like, what am I doing? And it's
Yes.
so weird. I feel so detached, and I hate it. Um, but I mean, it really was super unfortunate for CTT and everything because we had so many things planned, and we were gonna do the Little Prince last year and everything, and you were gonna be one of the directors, and I was really excited about that. So that was really sad. Um, but and then also just senior year, hanging out with friends, it's just not the same. You can't have large groups, and I wish that we could do it like we did one last time. But I think everyone's kind of by now found a way to still see the people that matter to them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree with that. If nothing else, we have found out during this pandemic that people really can adapt um,
Yes.
to a lot of things. But yeah. All right. Well, Elise, I'll throw it back over at you. Why don't you hit me with another question?
Can I say one that I did not send you already?
Of course you can. Those are my favorite.
Oh, cool. um, Doug, what has been one of the most or the most impactful thing you have done in college thus far, and why?
Ooh. All right. All right. Yeah. That's a good one. Okay. So this is gonna be really cheesy, and I'm sorry if it's gonna come across as cheesy, but like when I say directing Shrek was like it was like the pinnacle of so many things that I've been working towards in college. And there were things that we had to fight for to get to happen in that show. Some of those fights we won, some of those fights we lost. But like I mean, coming out of that show, we had such a good group dynamic, such a great family um, from that show. And I learned so much, like professionally and spiritually, just throughout that entire journey. But yeah, Shrek was definitely like up until this point, like Shrek has been the most impactful part of like my college experience. Now, that being said, Hunchback is still on the horizon, and that has its own challenges, namely with trying to do theater in a pandemic. But you know, kind
Hey,
of. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you're doing it, and that's better than some people could say.
Well, thank you for that. But kind of hopping off of that, doing theater in a pandemic. So we've talked about this elusive idea of CTT, Children's Theater Troupe. So my question to you is, as the artistic director for CTT, uh, what is it? And how do you think that we, because I'm also on the board, just real quick, how do you think that we as a group, have really adapted to this kind of like pandemic lifestyle that we're in?
Well, CTT stands for the Children's Theater Troupe, and we are a student organization through the theater department at UGA. We are, and by student organization, that means we are all student run, and normally we perform some shows that are geared towards kids, and we usually help out with just we've worked through some of the schools in the Athens area. We take part in Experience UGA, which is this really cool thing every year where all of the Athens Clark students in the third grade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, we get the third graders.
Okay. Yes, they all pack in to the auditorium, and CTT has the honor of performing for them, and so that's been super cool. And it's cool to say that, you know, people who are involved in that specific show get to perform on the fine arts stage, and not everyone gets to do that during college. And so yeah, we usually do quite a bit. We've had to completely reevaluate this year, but our board has been fantastic. We have some great people, Doug included. Doug rocks. Totally kind of like, Doug, will you be part of CTT? It's been really cool though. We've come up with some really cool things, and been really creative, and it's kind of, I think, shown us that we can continue to expand our creativity even in normal times with CTT and do things that we haven't before. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, for anyone out there who knows me or doesn't know me, CTT just has like a special place in my heart. It was the first like theater experience that I got to have like as a college student. It was like the first performance opportunity that I had, and it has stuck ever since. You know, you can't really see them, but these posters right here, these are two CTT shows that I was honored enough to be a part of. But yeah. Well, you know, you hit the nail on the head. You know, we really have had to adapt. And one of the things that we've had to do is we've had to look at sort of new ways to do that philanthropy that I talked about at the beginning, because usually what we do is we go and we volunteer at schools for after school programs, and get to play a lot of fun games with kids, do readings of children's books, have a lot of fun. But this year, you know, we've kind of narrowed that down to two really big things. So one is a program that we're trying to get off the ground, that we just did one a couple weeks ago, called CTT in a Box, where basically we have a virtual workshop for kids, and it's a ton of fun. But then we have another thing that we're actually doing this Saturday. And Elise, why don't you tell the folks what we're doing this Saturday?
Absolutely. So we are doing our first ever dramatic read-a-thon, and we're doing it over Restream, which is great. Because
for those of you who don't know, that's the program that we use to stream tea with Doug G.
Yes. Yeah. And so essentially that is this Saturday, the 14th, from 10 to 4, so a 6-hour period. And it is a complete 6-hour continuous period of dramatic readings of children's books and short children's plays over live stream, and so anyone can watch it at any point. And we're involving student undergrads from different student organizations through the theater department, and other people who want to be involved too. And they will be some of our readers who will get up here and read some dramatic readings. And so it'll be super fun. We're all really excited because I think it'll be really cool just to see different people come together to do some dramatic readings. And also this event will benefit Books for Keeps. And so it's always good to, be philanthropic, as we talked about. And I think it is really good to support children having books, and especially like in the Athens area, because literacy is so important, and being able to read these really great children's books and children's plays is such an important part of growing up.
Yeah, very, very excited to partner with Books for Keeps on this project. All of the proceeds are going to go to them. They're a phenomenal group. It's been an absolute joy getting communicate and converse with them via email about this process. My mother brings up a great question. How can we share / promote this live stream? Well, that's a great question. So first things first. So the live stream itself will be streamed on the Children's Theater Troupe Facebook page. So if you go like the Children's Theater Troupe Facebook page on Facebook, it will be streamed there, and it will be there for posterity, because my mom wanted to know how, or will it be recorded? Because yes, it will be recorded, because that's the beauty of this platform. Is that once you do something, it's always there. But yeah, and how can we support this project? Well, that's actually a great question. Elise, you have anything you would like to touch on that in specifics? I don't know why words just escaped me there, but yeah, take that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we still have signups open if anyone wants to help read for the event. And we're doing 15-minute or more time increments, and so you can get on here and read as many books as you want to. And so signups for that are still open. And by just donating to Books for Keeps, we'll have the information on the restream on Saturday. And so if you want to financially support, that's a great way. If you want to volunteer, then doing the dramatic readings will be really fun. And yeah, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about this. I think it's going to be just an awesome opportunity for us, because it's I don't know why this is the case, but I love the idea of just 6 hours of continuous dramatic readings of kids' books, because on the one hand, that's just a lot of fun, but on the other hand, there are a lot of weird kids' books out there, and I'm hoping, if I can get someone to do a dramatic reading of Fox and Socks by Dr. Seuss, I will be more than satisfied. But yeah, shout out to Ben Tankersley for dropping the link to the Children's Theater Troupe Facebook page in the comments. You'll be able to find that there. Or if you're watching on YouTube, this is the URL for it. But yeah, very excited about the Read-A-Thon this Saturday. If you can, or if you want to be involved in it, please do. I'll drop the link for signups in here after the stream is over. But yeah. Well, Elise, thank you so much for being on tonight. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely, I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for being involved in the chat. As always, Heidi Gooden, thank you so much for dominating the chat. And Ben Tankersley, thank you so much for trying, still slightly unsuccessfully, to usurp her as the master of the chat. But yeah. Please be sure to keep up with all things that Byron Media has going on. New episodes of Saying the Skeen every Wednesday. And please be sure to check out Children's Theater Troupe on Facebook and on Instagram at CTT UGA. Yeah, hope to see you, or hope that y'all will tune in to the live stream for the Read-A-Thon on Saturday. It's bound to be a lot of fun. But yeah. Until next time, I'm Doug Gooden. She's Elise Harvin. You have a glass of water, don't you?
I do.
All right, sweet. Let's raise our glasses and toast over the internet. Yeah, all right, we'll do that. I'm Doug Gooden. She's Elise Harvin, and this has been The Tea. Y'all have a great week.